Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Mr. Anger, back with you for another quick episode of the Mr. Anger Show. Let's talk about North Korea and a few things that are going on. The MOAB got dropped over in overseas. Everybody's going off about that. And saying, well, Trump should have got Congress approval. Actually, Trump is playing things smart when it comes to this right now. Basically, what Trump is doing is he's letting the military, he's taking the gloves off the military, the kid gloves, and letting them do what they do best, and that is their job. Trump has figured out a key reason why we are not winning against terrorist groups. And that is we're letting politicians dictate on how we proceed with this. Politicians who have no idea what it's like to be in combat firsthand, to fight this type of enemy. Trump realizes that shouldn't be done. And he's cutting out the political ties and letting the military do its job. The people who face these people every day, who know what it's like to face them and how to face them. Because they're on the fields doing the job themselves. So he's leaving it up to the people and turning it over to the military and letting them do their jobs. And getting the political bullshit out of the way so that they can do what they do best. Now, as far as North Korea goes, North Korea, it's a very touchy situation. Everybody's worried about North Korea like it's this big old disaster waiting to happen. Like there's going to be a nuclear war. You see, the thing is we're trying to stop Little Kim. And that's what I'm going to call him because I think it's funny to call him Little Kim. But Little Kim doesn't have the technical capabilities to get a missile over here as of yet. And that's what we're trying to thwart. Especially when you got somebody who threatens to strike us and nuke us because of a freaking movie. If you don't remember that, just look up the interview and all the controversy that was caused by that movie. And Little Kim throwing his little tantrum saying that he's going to strike. We put up with provocations and threats from Little Kim for over a decade now, since the 90s. Since the 90s. That's almost 2 decades, actually. 2 decades of him provoking, building up his arsenal, his arms, which is against the treaty, and threatening the people that we are sworn to protect and threatening us ourselves. We've drawn red line after red line. We've warned and warned and warned. We have, we have done everything underneath the sun, from sanctions and nothing seems to work with this guy. Nothing. So, after a couple of decades of this, I think enough is enough. And he's getting extremely close to developing missiles that can... Actually, they unveiled a new missile today that is more advanced than we thought would be. So, that could possibly reach our shores. So, we've got to do something about this. Enough is enough. We can't sit there and continue to be threatened all the time and provoked and not step up to the plate eventually. And right now, that's what we're doing. We're stepping up to the plate and we're calling their bluff. Now, people who are worried about a nuclear war, we have a missile defense system, and it works extremely well. Also, we can tell when missiles of that size and stature are being fueled. So, how else do you think we know what's going on over there? We can tell when they're fueling up those missiles for a test or filling up missiles and when they will be completely fueled. So we can strike those areas before they even have a chance to finish fueling and get up off the ground. So as far as us being provoked or being attacked, I very seriously doubt that would happen. So alleviate your worries and woes there. So what has happened is President Trump has says, all right, you keep provoking, you keep threatening, You do this, you launch that missile, we're going to do something. So the decision for war is completely and ultimately up to them. At any point, North Korea can stop what they're doing, stop their fueling, call off the missile launch, and everything could be right as rain. The decision ultimately lays in them. We've given them chance after chance and time after time. Now we got somebody in office who's going to sit there and say, okay, enough's enough. After a couple of decades of this crap, and you're just a few years away from developing missiles that can reach our homeland, and you constantly threaten us, we're going to do something about it. And we announced it on the world stage. So the decision ultimately lies in North Korea and little Kim himself. You know, here in the United States, if somebody threatens you, you can go get them arrested. You can get a restraining order against them. You can't do that with a world leader. Well, since it's just little Kim, everybody's sitting there saying, why don't we just go take him out? Oh yes, assassinate a world leader. That would work really well. You think we're in a shit now? Assassinate a world leader. Yeah. See how well that flies over. Or go in there, grab them, and detain them. Kidnap a world leader. That wouldn't work well on the world stage either. We would be condemned. So we can't do those. So we can do what we are doing now. Alright? You're provoking. If you do this, we will attack, we will strike, and we let the world know that we mean business this time. And the choice of war is ultimately up to little Kim himself. Nobody else. You know, enough's enough, people. We got to do something. We have to. What? Let them develop the intercontinental missiles that can reach our homeland from a guy who constantly threatens to nuke us over a stupid movie? No, we're not going to tolerate that. I don't think anybody should tolerate that. I don't think anybody should tolerate being threatened at all. Now, like I said, you know, satellites detect when these things are being fueled. We can strike them down, the missiles down, before they even get up off the ground. It's not going to be this big deal that everybody's thinking it's going to be. But it looks like, from the direction of little Kim, you know, the fueling's been completed on the missile. They're displaying weapons. They're ordering evacuations of one of their cities. It looks like the idiot is only going to understand force. And unfortunately, some people in this world do not understand anything but force. And unfortunately, with little Kim, he happens to be a leader. And he only understands force. I can tell you that right now. Because every time, you know, there's been provocations, threats against us, and we send down some military strength. As soon as our military strength gets there, and they see it, they back down. Each and every single time. It's like, okay, well, maybe we're not as advanced as we thought we were. We might want to pull back. I'm hoping China talks them down. I really do. You know, nobody really wants to go to war. Nobody does. And to dissolve this issue and to get rid of this issue would be break our treaty with South Korea and stop protecting them. Give them a couple nuclear warheads and say, okay, now things are even. And then just leave the continent to itself, or not continent, but leave the country to itself and say, okay, whichever one of you doesn't glow in the dark first wins. And just leave it at that. Are we willing to live with that? So we can't kidnap them, we can't take them out because you have some yahoo that's willing to take its place. I mean, that's like with ISIS. I don't understand this. And Al-Qaeda. You know, every time we nab a leader, you know, we broadcast it on the news like it's such a big deal, not realizing that, you know, there's some other little putz that's going to take its place in less than no time flat. It's time that we keep our word. We step up and we do something and draw the final red line. And this is it. This is the true test and testament of what is to come. And the decision ultimately lies in Kim himself. Let's hope for the best, but be prepared and expect for the worst. I'm Mr. Anger.